By the end of this video, you're going to understand 3 things about German Shepherds that most owners only figure out after something has already gone wrong. And once you know these 3 things, you'll see your dog completely differently. You'll make better decisions, not just about training, but about how you live with this dog every single day. Let's get into it. Number 1. Your German Shepherd has a fear window that most owners permanently damage. Here's something that doesn't get nearly enough attention. Between the ages of roughly 6 months and 14 months, your German Shepherd goes through what behaviourists call a secondary fear period. And this window is dangerous, not because your dog becomes dangerous, but because of what most owners do when they see it. During this phase, your German Shepherd, a dog that may have been bold, confident and curious just weeks before, will suddenly start reacting to things that never bothered them. A trash can in a new spot, a stranger in a hat, the sound of a car door, shadows, things that seem completely ridiculous to you, and the reaction looks like aggression. The dog lunges, barks, hackles up, pulls toward or away from something with real intensity. And the average owner does one of 2 things. They either get frustrated and correct the dog, a sharp leash pop, a firm no, a physical correction, trying to stop the behaviour, or they pull the dog away and comfort it, saying, it's okay, trying to soothe the reaction. Both responses are wrong, and both permanently shape your dog's nervous system. Here's what's actually happening during this window. Your German Shepherd's brain is doing final wiring. The emotional architecture that will govern how this dog responds to stress, novelty, and perceived threats for the rest of its life is being laid down right now. The secondary fear period is essentially a stress calibration process. The dog is asking a question with every reaction. Is this world safe, and can I trust my handler to tell me? When you correct the dog harshly, you answer that question with no, and you add yourself to the list of things that are unpredictable and threatening. When you overcomfort, you confirm the fear. You essentially tell the dog, yes, that thing is dangerous because your body language and tone say so. What the dog needs in this window is calm, neutral leadership. You don't correct and you don't coddle. You keep moving. You act like the thing your dog is reacting to is completely unremarkable. You set the emotional temperature. Your body language says, I see it. It's nothing. Keep going. You stay loose on the leash. You keep your voice flat and unbothered. And when the dog chooses to settle, you mark and reward that, quietly, without drama. This is called neutral exposure, and it teaches your German Shepherd that you are the reliable anchor in an unpredictable world. That is the foundation of every good thing about this breed. The loyalty, the protectiveness, the trainability. All of it depends on that trust being built correctly during this window. Miss this, and you'll spend years managing a dog that's either reactive and defensive, or anxious and shut down. Get it right. And you'll have a dog that looks to you for guidance instead of making its own high-stakes decisions in public. If your dog is under 2 years old, pay very close attention to how you respond to their fear reactions. You're not just managing behaviour, you're building a brain. Number 2, you don't own a German Shepherd. You have a partnership that requires a role, not a routine. This is the one that's going to sound philosophical, but stick with me because this changes everything. German Shepherds are not just intelligent dogs, they are handler-dependent dogs. That distinction matters enormously. A lot of smart breeds, Border Collies, Poodles, Australian Shepherds, are highly trainable because they enjoy the work itself. They're self-motivated. They'll herd, retrieve, or solve puzzles for the intrinsic satisfaction of doing it. They don't need you to be a particular type of person, they just need stimulation. German Shepherds are not wired that way. A German Shepherd's engagement, its drive, its focus, its willingness to work, is tied not to the task, but to you. They are bred specifically to work as an extension of a human partner. That's what the entire history of the breed, military, police, search and rescue, guide work, has been selecting for. A dog that channels its intelligence and drive through a person, not independently of one. What this means practically is that the biggest mistake you can make with a German Shepherd is to give them tasks without a relationship. A lot of owners solve the German Shepherd needs a job advice by giving their dog a backpack on walks, doing puzzle feeders, signing up for obedience class, and checking the box. The dog is technically busy, but the dog is not fulfilled. What your German Shepherd is actually looking for is a handler, someone whose movements it reads, whose emotional state it tracks, whose decisions it trusts. In the absence of that, this breed turns its extraordinary intelligence toward filling the vacuum. It starts making decisions about the environment itself. It starts managing the household. It starts policing guests, controlling access to spaces, and treating your home like its operational area, because no one else has clearly taken that role. This is where a huge portion of German Shepherd behavioural problems come from. Not lack of training, not lack of exercise, lack of a clear human identity in the relationship. So what does fixing this actually look like? It starts with how you move through the world together. You go through doors first, not as a dominance ritual, but as a natural expression of who's navigating the environment. You decide when the walk starts, when it pauses, which direction it goes. You eat first. You invite the dog into your space rather than the dog demanding access. These aren't arbitrary rules. They're social signals that answer the question your German Shepherd is always asking. Who is running point here? When the answer is clearly you, your German Shepherd relaxes into the role it was built for, partner, not manager. The hypervigilance drops, the reactivity eases, the demanding pushy behaviours stop, and what emerges is the dog you were promised when you got a German Shepherd. Calm, attentive, responsive, and genuinely bonded to you. The routine feeds the body, the relationship feeds the dog. Number 3. The clock on your German Shepherd's hips and spine started the day you brought them home. This one is not about training. This one is about time, and most people find out too late. German Shepherds are one of the most physically compromised purebred dogs in existence when it comes to two specific conditions: hip dysplasia and degenerative myelopathy. Most owners know these are risks. What most owners don't know is that they are actively making both conditions worse through completely normal everyday habits, and the damage accumulates silently during puppyhood and early adulthood, showing up clinically only when the dog is between 5 and 9 years old. Let's talk about hip dysplasia first. The hip joint is a ball and socket structure. In a German Shepherd, the quality of that joint is partly genetic, but the degree to which dysplasia develops is significantly environmental, especially in the first 18 months. During this period, the joint is forming. The bones are not yet fully dense, the supporting musculature is still developing, and what happens to the body during this window determines how well that joint seats, whether the ball sits deep and stable in the socket, or whether it rides shallow and grinds. The specific habits that accelerate damage are repetitive high-impact exercise on hard surfaces, running on stairs or jumping from heights, and forced running, like jogging alongside a bicycle or keeping pace with a human runner. All of these drive concussive force through an immature joint repeatedly, and the joint does not recover the way an adult joint does. You're not just tiring out a puppy, you're creating micro-trauma that accumulates into the joint laxity that becomes dysplasia. The rule of thumb most orthopedic vets use is 5 minutes of structured exercise per month of age. So a 4-month-old puppy gets 20 minutes of actual exercise. The rest is free play, which the dog naturally self-regulates. Free play is fine. Forced, sustained, repetitive movement on hard ground is what causes the damage. Now, degenerative myelopathy. This one is even less talked about, and it's brutal. Degenerative myelopathy is a progressive disease of the spinal cord that eventually leads to full hind limb paralysis. German Shepherds carry the gene mutation that causes it at a rate that should alarm every owner of this breed. And while it's genetic at its root, emerging research strongly suggests that the progression rate, how fast it moves once it starts, is influenced by spinal load history. What that means, dogs whose spines carried excessive or asymmetric load during development tend to show earlier and faster progression. Structurally, the German Shepherd's characteristics sloped back, which has been exaggerated by decades of show breeding, already places the lumbar and sacral spine under chronic stress. Every time your dog is jumping off furniture, descending steep stairs repeatedly, or being encouraged into extreme postures during training, you are adding to a cumulative load that the spine will eventually stop tolerating. This doesn't mean you wrap your dog in cotton wool. It means you make specific decisions early. You use ramps, not stairs, for vehicles. You don't let the dog launch off the couch repeatedly from puppyhood. You keep the dog lean. Excess weight on a German Shepherd's frame is among the single most damaging things for both conditions, because it multiplies the load on every compromised structure with every step. The first 2 years of your German Shepherd's physical life are a window you cannot reopen. What you do, or don't do, in that time will either protect the body this dog will need for the next decade, or quietly dismantle it. 3 things. A fear window you have to navigate correctly, a relationship that requires you to show up as a handler, not just an owner, and a body that needs protecting from the very first day. None of this is complicated, but all of it is specific. Specific to the German Shepherd, specific to how this dog is wired, and specific to what this breed needs to actually thrive. If you've been doing some of these things differently, it's okay. This breed is forgiving when you give them the right environment to reset. Start with one thing, pick the one that resonated most and focus there. Consistency over the next 30 days will show you results that no training trick can produce. And if you found this useful, if you learned something here that you genuinely didn't know before, hit the like button and subscribe. We go this deep on every breed we cover because your dog deserves better than surface level advice. There's a lot more coming, don't miss it.